What's up, no load time? Joel here, glad to be with you for this review of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's right, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man today, and this is a spoilers review. However, for the first 2 minutes, I'm just going to give you guys a non-spoilers impressions, and then we'll talk about spoilers. So when I give the thumbs up, and I'm going to say at this moment I'm moving forward spoilers, when I do that in the video, you'll know that we're jumping into spoilers at that moment. So if you have not seen the movie, go ahead, stop the video at that point when I put the thumbs up, and then come back after you've seen the movie. If you have seen the movie, you can watch the whole thing through, but either way, there's something for all of us. So thanks for sticking with us. Let's talk about it. Let's jump in. Non-spoilers impressions first. So I loved the first movie, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, right? And when I think of that first movie, it's just a great origin story. It's a great overall interpretation of Spider-Man, and there's just so much about it that just parallels the Peter Parker Spider-Man that I love as well, but in a fresh retelling way. So talking about this movie now we've already had that groundwork. Where does this movie go? Well, this movie just completely takes what the first movie's foundation, and it just launches it like a rocket off into where the future of this character, this universe is going. And I absolutely loved this movie. Now, yeah, I'm wearing a Spider-Man hat. I've got a Spider-Man, poster behind me. If you listen to No Load Time, you know how much Spider-Man means to me. So you're thinking, okay, of course this guy liked it, right? Like, why would he not? You'd be surprised. I mean, like, I wasn't huge on the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. There's plenty of Spider-Man interpretations I've just not been crazy about. But the reason with this one is just when you see this movie and you understand how much they respect, how much they really try to entertain, the way that they try to build off of everything that we've seen before from Spider-Man. And I'm not talking about even just Miles Morales. I'm talking everything, all Spider-Mans of all time, right? This is the Spider-Verse. That's what's in the titles. When you start getting into that, you understand there is something for everyone. As long as you like Spider-Man, they are really trying to not just give you a bunch of Spider-Man, but really give you a heartfelt, profound look into the Spider-Man universe. And it's still very fresh, just like how the first one was. So yeah, you if you're looking at Rotten Tomatoes, you see the score at the moment of recording this. I think it was 95 or 97%. It's in the mid to upper 90s. It's absolutely deserved. This is one of those movies that I know the first one was nominated. I feel very confident in saying right now, this one hits the bar as well that it needs to be nominated too. I'm digesting it. I saw it a few hours ago, so I want to make sure that I'm also very level-headed in how I'm responding to this. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I'm going to be talking about on the podcast as time goes on, about different things that I think about with the movie from just an impression standpoint. But as I just think about this movie more and more and more, I just understand, wow, they really nailed it with this character. So I can't wait for what they do with the future of the movies. But that's just the non-spoilers impression. So thumbs up here. Let's get into the spoilers. Let's get into the stuff that happens in the movie. So if you've seen the movie, stick with us. If you have not, time for you to stop the video here. Come back after you've seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Let's get it. You've been warned. Okay, so oh my goodness, I did not expect the amount of crossover into live action, both previous and current iterations of Spider-Man. They really made a dive in this movie to really give plenty of opportunities to showcase all the live actions that we've seen before. Yeah, we did not see Tom Holland. That's the only Spider-Man, live action Spider-Man that we didn't see. But Tobey Maguire, like, you get the full sequence of that, right? You get the Andrew Garfield moment, and you even get Venom. You get the Venom, Mrs. Chen, right? A sequence, and it was just hilarious and so unexpected. Such an unexpected moment, but really, really well done. Wow, I loved that opportunity to really cross it into the live action stuff. So good. Beginning of the movie seeing the Spider-Gwen sequence, like Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy, this iteration of her. I want her to have her own movie. Like, I'm just gonna come on and say it now. I want to see more of her. And the very first beginning, I was like, wait, is this movie gonna focus more on her than Miles? And I wouldn't have been mad about it. But it's very, I mean, she's a main character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not calling her a secondary character, but because it usually follows Miles' story, it just kind of weaved in. Where in this one, she has just as much of a very personal connection to what the arc is of this film as Miles does, as the fate of her father rests in the hands as well as Miles's father's fate rests in the hands of the actions that they've taken place in this film. With Spot showing up and with him supposed to having killed specific characters. This is why you see that there's a theme, right? In Spider-Man, they take a really good opportunity to really bring this home, right? The Uncle Ben always has to die, and also Captain Stacy always has to die, right? And I'm like, I talk about this so much on the podcast about, I understand that there's always an opportunity to do fresh takes and new iterations of things, but there are certain things that I always refer to as absolutes, as pillars of stories of specific characters. If you're doing something completely new, that's not the same. But I'm talking about a character that's been around, a character like Spider-Man. It's a legacy character that has been around for a very long time. These moments are fundamentally important to the character. You just cut these things out. It's like the Fantastic Four without Susan and Johnny being brother and sister. Like, that has to be a part of it, right? Because it's the first family. With Spider-Man, having the Uncle Ben moment, having this Captain Stacy thing, these are important parts of the story, and they talk about plenty in Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, in this movie, it's also extremely important to when they're talking about the multiverse and continuity, and all the Spider-Men and Spider-Women have this specific type of connection. And so I just love that they really hone that in and make it clear, hey, this thing has to happen. But at the same extent, Miles is not going to just hear this information. It's like, okay, sure, my dad just has to die. I mean, that's just not who he is. And I don't think any of us would be very happy hearing that information. You'd want to find another way. What that way is, what may happen, is it going to work out? These are the parts that make you want to keep watching the movie, and this is why I'm so glad they're continuing with the sequel. I'm so glad that they left us on this cliffhanger to keep us going. I'm glad, but I'm also frustrated because I'm like, I want to see this now. But at the same extent, like, this is what I love about this, how they do it so well, because when you set up the stage with understanding how important these moments are and how this is a fundamental to the character. Now, if you say, well, what if he does find a way? Is it even possible to find a way to get around this? And if he does, what's going to be the ramifications? Is this going to reset, in essence, this universe somehow, some way? And we see a little bit of that with the Captain Stacy thing, right? Where Gwen Stacy's father, left being a captain after she disappeared, after he was supposed to arrest her because he finds out her identity and Peter Parker died in her universe. I don't need to recap the whole story. I'm just talking spoilers, but, I don't want to take too much time recapping. And I just want to talk about very specific parts of how I'm saying it's going to continue on. And that moment of her finding out that her father, had basically quit the force and is not going to be Captain Stacy anymore. That's huge, because her reaction is like, yo, you're not a captain anymore. That means you don't have to die. Like, I've saved you, because he's the only one that she has left in her family. And that arc of hers is just so well done, so emotional. I know many people will tear up watching it because it's just done so well. That family bond, that father and daughter, the relationship that they have, where they're all that they have left, and it's just so incredible. But even with that, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not confident that he lives, because just because that he is not a captain anymore doesn't mean he will never become a captain. Also doesn't mean that they've changed up. But at the same extent, it feels like it's intentional. Maybe he will. I'm not saying it with certainty. I'm just saying that I'm cautious and where it proceeds. And that's what I like. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you guessing, keeps you trying to figure it out. But yeah, if I just think right now, I don't feel too confident about his survival. I don't feel confident about, obviously, Miles's father also surviving too. So That's where obviously it leaves off to, where he really has to figure that out. But with the whole exposure that Miles' character was not supposed to have the Spider-Man abilities. That's what Miguel 299 Spider-Man says to Miles, and then he basically says, you weren't supposed to have this. Do you really believe that? I don't believe that. Here's why I don't believe that. Because they just went through the whole process of explaining how there's specific pillars of things that are supposed to happen. Has everything not been lined up exactly with the Spider-Man, his story, the same as all their Spider-Mans, right? His uncle, right, dying, okay, being the Prowler, that also passes away. His father being a captain. These are all parts of the Spider-Man universe, just laid out differently. Was there already a Spider-Man in his universe that died? Yes. But that was also kind of the point in the first movie when you watch, is that he dies and a new person's picking up the mantle. I don't buy it that he was not supposed to have been bitten and that the spider came from another universe. Did the spider come from another universe? Yes, because that's why the machine sends Miles to the universe of where he got bit, which is not the same universe as where he actually exists in originally. So we see that he's with his parents or with his mother, but his father died in the universe that he gets sent back to with the bent spider. But yeah, I'm very confused on it. Maybe as I digest it more, I'm planning on seeing this movie again. Gotta see this on the big screen again. Gotta see this on the big. I mean, I was telling the folks with me, like, just specifically the sequence when we get to all the Spideys together, right? What a great moment. You get all the different cameos. You get PS4 Spider-Man and all the different, versions. Spectacular Spider-Man. I can go down the list of all the Spider-Man in there. There's plenty of, I'm sure, articles also breaking those down, but just loved that moment. But when you get to there, and when Miles is like, I'm not going to let my uncle die, and he explains that the whole, as he refers to them as cannons, right? That sequence you have to see on a big screen. And if you can't, I understand, and it's not everyone has the ability to. I'm not saying in that regard insensitively, but I'm saying if you can, and like me, who has seen it, I'm making plans to see that again. The whole movie I really love. It's just on that big screen, that moment. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's an action sequence that probably, if I had to estimate, is 15 to 20 minutes long. That's how it felt. Maybe it was shorter, but it just felt long, but not in a bad of, oh, it's long. It felt long as in, like, this adventure, this chase keeps going, and I'm just loving it. And Spider-Man fans, we are eating good. We are eating good. Sony has given us a nice full plate, and I am so grateful for what has come out of this movie. Just looking at even just some of the more parallels, like, you didn't really have an Aunt May character in the first movie, right? But in this movie, his relationship with his mom is very much like Aunt May. When you really think about it, don't forget who you are, where you came from. I believe in you. I care about you. Well, nothing what you tell me won't change about how I love you. That's how Aunt May was always with Spider-Man. It didn't matter the mistakes, the challenges, the heartache that he was facing, how he felt he was trying to keep her. And she was always worried of, like, why you're keeping a secret. You're always going around doing stuff. Every iteration you see with Aunt May, she still always cared about his well-being, and very much like a mother, even though it was his aunt because he doesn't have his parents. In this situation, it is his actual mother, and this is why I'm trying to say to you, the way all of it is set up with Miles' world, he totally was supposed to. It's not a mistake, and I think that's going to be very important for him because his very identity is almost being challenged to some extent, his purpose, right? Even though he really, really related to the abilities and really took it on the responsibility of being a Spider-Man. His identity is definitely being challenged, and then the people he loves, that just knowing that his very father is supposed to be set to die, and the relationship that he has with his father from the first movie was just really incredible, and then you see it continue in this one. Yeah, I mean, it became very personal, deeply emotional. And I think many people are just going to be shaken by everything that happened in this film. And the cliffhanger ending, actually am happy we didn't get post credits. Like, it just ending the way it did, it felt very Empire Strikes Back. It felt very Twin Towers. It felt like the kind of endings that you get when you know there's plenty more to come. This is all you need to know. This is the way you get people talking, buzzing, and saying, "Oh my goodness!" In the next year or two, however long it's gonna be, we'll be there. I love it, love it, love it. There's so much more I could say about this movie, so much more I could digest. This is just my initial reactions to it, and just talking spoilers, but I don't want to take too much of your time. If you get a chance on this channel, I did get to see Shamik Moore speak about this, just overall him playing Miles, and then also just about this movie. And so if you get a chance on the No Load Time channel here, you should go to playlists, check out MegaCon, and you'll see there's a Shamik Moore panel. You can watch the full panel. I've got that video up on this channel, so that's from MegaCon Orlando. And definitely was a great panel with him, talk about the film. I really recommend you check that out. And yeah, drop a like, drop some comments, tell us what you really thought about the movie. Would love to hear your reaction to it. Stay subscribed. We've got plenty more content to come, plenty more movies to come. So make sure you stick around. Thank you all so much, and we'll be with you in the next one. See ya.